What is going on, Crisis Actors? It is episode 1120 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I am here with my returning co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. I am indeed back and feeling better, like my normal self today. I'm sorry I look weird, though, because, I mean, it might as well be nighttime out there. It's about to thunderstorm, so it's super dark in this room.
It had some ambiance. I admit, I like it.
And I'm feeling the autumn vibes, y'all.
Pumpkin
spice season. I got the pumpkin cold foam cold brew this morning. It was delicious. Enjoyed that thoroughly. I am feeling the autumn vibes that are on the way.
You're going to have to break out. I mean, you're not really a jeans person, but you're going to have to break out some blue jeans and some brown high boots.
I'm not a jeans person. I never will be a jeans person. I don't understand how people actually tolerate the feeling of like wearing pants in general. I can't stand it.
I mean, women's denim is basically sweatpants anyways.
It is not like that at all. It's so uncomfortable, and I refuse to wear wide leg jeans because they're ugly.
Yep.
So I only have skinny jeans, and I just feel like I'm getting shrink wrapped. Like it's so awful.
Yeah,
so
that's my hottest take. Like my hottest take really is that like we should have like a worldwide ban on baggy denim for adults. They should be forced to wear stuff that at least looks like it fits them. None of this Justin Bieber walking around looking like he's wearing his dad's suit, or the people wearing they wear the overalls, but they're like enormous.
Skinny jeans are about to make a comeback. I am telling you right now, that is the rest of 2026 and going into 2027. Skinny jeans are, in fact, going to have a revival, no matter what people say.
I wonder, this is my conspiracy theory. I mean, I know that fashion trends are cyclical and everything kind of comes and goes in waves. But me and you had a discussion for ages where I said, like, I felt like people wearing what used to be in my day termed belly shirts was just a flex for people who were not fat in a world of increasingly fat people. And maybe skinny jeans, with the rise of Ozempic, people can go back to wearing skinny jeans because they no longer have to hide their fat.
That is absolutely true. However, I never thought that baggy jeans made anyone look skinny.
Well, it's not it's not about making them look skinny. It's about obfuscating so you don't know.
Sure, right.
It's just hiding it.
Yeah. I bet Ozempic has something to do with it. The clothes are getting smaller as we are getting smaller and conforming to the new beauty standard. But they're just my aesthetic preference. I can't stand how it feels to wear pants. It's awful.
All right, guys, we've got a bunch of stuff to get into today, but as always, please hit the like button on the episode. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. Share the episode out with friends, family, loved ones, people in your life that you love, the people in your life that you don't love. The more people that you share the show with, the faster the channel can grow. $20 super chat here from Pop Culture Junkie says, Brett and Mary, what the F is going on here? Masters of the Universe was #1 in the July 20th Nielsen's. Why such shitty box office and then blowing the doors off on Prime? Is this the case of I'll wait till it comes on streaming? Yeah. I wanted to make a video about this, but I didn't really know what direction to take it because I didn't have any corollary information with something else. The other thing that I understand that the Nielsen charts are a more objective, they're a more objective metric, or even like Luminate data can be a more objective metric. But every time one of these streaming services makes a movie that then comes to their streaming service, they're like, it's the #1 on Netflix. It's the #1 on Prime. I'm like, first of all, like, who knows if they're ever even honest about that? Like, I 100% believe that they lie and just say it's the #1 on platform, even if it's not, and then make up their own, like, specious data about what that means. For instance, guys, we were going to do a topic yesterday, and we ended up cutting it, about how, oh my gosh, I deleted it, and I don't have, I wish I had the information. The metrics they were using to talk about Punisher One Last Kill, where it was like, it wasn't the highest Disney Plus show in terms of minutes viewed, because it can't be, because it's a one episode. It's just not going to be, based on the fact that there's just not as many minutes to watch as some of the other shows. But it was number one in like series completed. A series of one episode that was an hour and so they're like, yeah, lots of people finished it. I'm like, yeah, because
when it comes to Masters of the Universe, I think it's them making, well, that's something that Gen X cares about. They're making stuff for demographics, for age demographics that statistically go to the movie theater less than Gen Z. That's
well, I mean, but that's a new that is a new phenomenon, at least to the public. That Gen Z
new phenomenon that Gen Z is going to the movies.
As of this year, it seems to be a growing trend that wasn't necessarily true, at least not backed up by any data that I saw over the last couple of years.
Maybe that they can drive now, that they have jobs and can pay for stuff like movie tickets more than they used to. I don't know, but they're making stuff for Gen X, even though it's proven that they don't go to theaters.
Yeah, and it is what it is.
It doesn't make sense.
They and the thing is, they knew this. Like, I made a video like when Masters of the Universe was out, that a big reason why it would end up possibly getting a sequel is because it would kill it on streaming, and it did well for Mattel or whoever owns the toys, you know, the merch lines and stuff like that. Movie making is a multifaceted, you know, endeavor now, because it's no longer just about the story. It's about whatever IP is attached to it. So do I think they'll make a sequel? I still think that there's a possibility it gets a sequel. I do. That's my long shot guessed in the park, but we'll have to wait and see. Christopher in the chat says Brett's second favorite movie of the year. Well, no, Spider-Man Brand New Day is my second favorite movie of the year. So, not Masters of the Universe. We got a bunch of stuff to get into today. What are we talking about? Well, Tim Curry passed. This was a big story that broke earlier today. 80 years old, is, you know, same age as Dolly Parton, and the third actor from Home Alone 2 to pass away this year, with Catherine O'Hara and Brenda Fricker, who both died this year. But it ties in with Dolly Parton, because they say that celebrities die in threes. I don't know if Hayden Panettiere is technically the third in this respect here, or if they're waiting on.
Well, that would make her the first, I think.
Well, I'm saying the third person of the ones that I just mentioned, like,
yeah,
you know, like, because she was before them. I don't know about all that, but Dolly Parton's death, which should be an apolitical event for everybody, because everybody loves Dolly Parton, has not been allowed to be an apolitical event, as a lot of people are using it as an opportunity to grandstand about their own personal politics and asking really, really important societal questions like, did Dolly Parton support Palestine? Which should make you want to just roll your eyes and just take a nap for a lifetime when you hear stuff like that. We are in the end days when it comes to virtue signaling. So we will get into all of that. There's a lot of it when it comes to Dolly Parton, because she was such a universally loved figure. The weird thing is that anybody who does that, you know, doesn't live up to the goodness she brought into the world, which means that they're automatically disqualified from the running if you want to talk about who is a better person. I don't think it's a conversation she would have entertained. So We'll talk about that. We're also going to talk about Anna Faris. This was a story that broke at the end of the week last week. There was an article coming out about Anna Faris. And of course, anytime Anna Faris is brought up, it has to do with Chris Pratt, because the internet hates Chris Pratt, and they have a son together named Jack, who is in his faith like Chris Pratt is. And Anna Faris was getting quoted in these articles about how she challenges her son's faith. And a lot of those headlines seem to be taken as a little bit hyperbolic. I don't think she came off as badly when you read the actual quotes.
Keep in mind, this kid is not 7 years old.
No,
he's 14, and he can carry intellectual conversations at that age. Don't underestimate a teenager's ability to have serious conversations with their parents. But it brings up a lot of interesting, controversial ideas, and I think people were a little too quick to throw Anna Faris under the bus over this. And it was, I think, pretty misinterpreted when it started trending.
Yep. So we're going to get into that. That'll be interesting. Also, Twilight, I don't know if Kristen Stewart, I don't know if that theater she bought is like a money pit and it's like going down the tubes and she can't afford the upkeep on it. But she's already invoking Twilight again, saying she wants to go back. She wants to put a chick in it and make it gay. So.
I said something really bad about the movie theater on Twitter and then I deleted it because I got scared.
Okay. I saw it. It didn't look bad to me.
Really?
I mean, did I misinterpret it?
I was just worried that people would interpret it as exactly what it was, which was a veiled threat of arson. So I deleted it.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Now that I think about it, yeah.
That is what it was.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. That's what it was. So,
okay. So
I have beef with Kristen Stewart now. It's official. I have to come out to defend Twilight as a dedicated fan now. So, yeah.
we will get into that. I also want to give you guys a reminder that this Saturday at 7 p.m. I will be posting a premiere episode with Royals commentator and former Hollywood press tour presenter Kinsey Schofield. We're going to talk about why press tours just don't hit like they used to, why celebrities can't seem to master the art of not saying something stupid when it comes to the Hollywood press tour these days. And we're going to get into some of her stories about the various experiences she had working in that industry. It should be a lot of fun. So be ready for that one on Saturday night at 7 p.m. I hope you guys will all check it out, and I will lurk in if I'm not skating, which happened last time, I meant to watch it, but I will lurk in the chat to see what you degenerates are up to while we're having that discussion. So stay tuned for that. We've got a bunch of other stuff. If you're ready to go, Mary, we can go. You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go for it then.
Christmas is fast approaching, which means before we know it, the HBO Harry Potter series is going to be out. And these kids on the cast are in for an incredibly toxic awakening to the realities of social media and political derangement, especially against J.K. Rowling. Right now, actually, we see some controversy rumbling around Rupert Grint because he is returning to his role as Ron Weasley on Broadway next year. So this will be after the debut of the TV series. I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of buzz around it, which makes it even better timing for him to join the cast. This is him reprising his role as an adult in Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, the same way that Tom Felton did, much to the chagrin of J.K. Rowling haters. They hate Tom Felton specifically because he hasn't disavowed J.K. Rowling. And Rupert Grint, if I recall correctly, has.
So I asked Blabs. That's who I asked because she keeps up on literally everything Harry Potter. I said, how does he rank?
That's a lot of work.
I was like, how does Rupert Grint rank in like the J.K.
I think
Rowling?
all three of the main OG characters, or actors rather, have in some form or fashion disavowed J.K. Rowling and her views on gender.
What Blabs said was that he is the least annoying of the three.
Okay.
So...
Yeah, and he also he's partial to J.K. Rowling as a fellow ginger.
Yes, they have to stick together.
But he must have known backlash would follow. I cannot imagine how Nicholas Hoult didn't see that coming when he accepted a role in the show and then immediately quit.
So I've got an update. I've got an update on that too. So yesterday we were I was going through his upcoming roles, trying to figure out what movie or show this magical scheduling conflict could have just popped out of nowhere. And I said, okay, so Superman Man of Tomorrow is currently on day 85 of its shoot. Well, the original Superman from 2025 had a 135-day shoot before it wrapped its initial run of photography. They just got a message from James Gunn today that they have wrapped filming on Superman Man of Tomorrow. So it ain't Superman that's keeping him busy.
Watch it be like some flop A24 movie. It was
there was something called Mosquito that he was working on. That I guess it could have been that, but everything else that he had was looked like it was already in post-production.
I'm just saying, if you're right that he quit the show due to backlash, he has to be dumb as a rock, because how did you not see that coming? Like, how out of touch can you be that you wouldn't see that coming?
Well, I mean, he might have been he might be farther behind in woke one than everybody else, and he doesn't realize that woke
people around you responsible for making you look good and telling you these things.
Yeah.
Of course, he knew that was going to happen, and Rupert Grint as well is willing to face that backlash.
Well, he's also
statement.
For him, he benefits from, like, he's never going to be able to escape it. Nicholas Hoult can, like, get out and people will forget in 6 months, and nobody will even remember that he was supposed to play Gilderoy Lockhart. Rupert Grint is tied forever to this franchise, so it will always be a question no matter what he does.
Yes. He gave a statement saying, Ron Weasley has been a part of me since I was 11 years old, and I can't wait to meet him again in this stage of life. There's something so full circle and special about stepping back into Ron's shoes now that we are both fathers. It is somehow both very familiar and completely new, and the joy of being back on Broadway, this time in a role that defined so much of my life, is truly exciting. The producers also said Rupert is not simply revisiting a role from his past. This is ChatGPT. He is continuing a journey he began as a child and carrying it forward with all the life and experience he's gained since filming concluded, including a career that's taken him from film to television to acclaimed stage work on both Broadway and the West End. His return creates a powerful bridge between the story audiences first fell in love with and the story of family, legacy, and passage of time that Harry Potter and the Cursed Child carries forward. So he's going to be on stage for 17 weeks in 2027, and people are not happy about it.
Nope, they were very upset.
They're attempting to cancel him, whatever that means now. One said, Rupert Grint, you are lame as hell for this. There's also this tweet showing a screenshot of one of the comments saying, nah, this is so disappointing, Rupert Grint. Trans rights are more important than nostalgia, and we thought you knew that.
There was the Wizarding News TM says Rupert was the last of the Golden Trio to oppose J.K. Rowling's transphobic bigotry in 2020. Still surprising he'd do this, or that Joan would even allow it, considering what she has said about them since. I don't know how much of a say she has over the casting for the Broadway play, but it's
she makes
funny
money
that
off of it, right?
Wizarding News TM saying this is crazy work, considering I'm assuming, unless we're talking about other wizards, like, is this like a Merlin fan page that also branches out?
Just anything that kind of vaguely relates to wizardry.
And they have like a pride like banner around their thing. So that must have been a real D-Day for people who were both extremely progressive and, because it ties in with Harry Potter so well with that age, especially of millennials. Mm-hmm. And then to go down this path that J.K. Rowling has got to have been, that must be like a constant state of cognitive dissonance for them. If they're not willing to at least just say something as simple as like, I don't like what she says, but I love the franchise.
Also, they're lying. Nostalgia is incredibly important to them because they can't grow up. And I bet that a lot of these people staging a boycott are, in fact, going to stream the show. Yeah. I sent you this tweet with a photo op that HBO put together with the child cast on a red carpet at one of their events. And that's Dominic McLaughlin, Arabella Stanton, and Alastair Stout. Those are incredibly British names, all three of them.
Alastair Stout is straight out of like a British play.
Exactly.
Actually, no, it sounds like Alastair Stout sounds like a British playwright, somebody who writes plays.
These kids have gotten ridiculed quite a lot over the past several months. I think from all sides, a lot of people were mad about the casting decisions, making fun of their looks, which is horrible. And I hope that they are not being exposed to any of that commentary. But one of the quote tweets said, I can't help but feel deeply sad for these kids. When the culture wars die and decency prevails, they, as adults, will have to live with being the faces of a project whose success will always be linked to the attempted erasure of trans people from public life.
Oh, boy.
It is so delusional to say. I mean, just their worldview is that we're like we're approaching an apocalypse where everyone is going to have this illumination of conscience one day and wake up thinking, wow, trans rights are human rights. And J.K. Rowling is evil and literally Satan.
It's
like they think that's going to happen one day and that the culture wars will die and decency will prevail.
Well, I mean, it's a hallmark of people who have a childish worldview to not understand that for a millennia, people have probably disagreed on things. Okay, so for instance, a couple years ago, I was kicking around an idea of doing a segment towards because we go on break for Christmas, about like the war on Christmas. And I was reading stuff that like Rush Limbaugh and people wrote about the war on Christmas back in like the late 90s and the 2000s. And you really do realize that it doesn't change. It's literally just the same thing over and over and over again. You are not special. You're not a freedom fighter. You're not standing up for something that's super important. You're just a cog in a machine that's used by various people to extract money through clicks and ad revenue. And you know what? That's fine, but you're not changing the world. And I think that that's true of both sides. It's true of people who work on this side of the aisle and, whatever you want to call this show, and get out of politics and realize, you know what? Back in Normieville, it ain't that serious.
No, it's really not. Yeah. People are sick of politics right now, especially. It's like the fatigue has spread across both sides. There's nothing happening in the political world. People just want to check out, disassociate, and nostalgia goon. That's what they want.
Oh, so this time of year is especially bad for that because all of the nostalgia-based accounts are starting to post Christmas nostalgia stuff or Halloween-based nostalgia stuff. So it's all of these. I don't know if it was you that I mentioned this to, or if it was yesterday, or I've had so many conversations lately, but it's these first-person AI videos, like POV videos. It's like POV, you wake up on Christmas morning in 1990 and the Christmas music is playing, and it's got
like the mood board edit.
Got the tube TV in the corner of the room. There's just the right of snow falling outside, and it the camera pans, looks down, and he takes like Home Alone out of a box to put it in the VCR. Because I think this was yesterday we were talking about it, and Steph basically said it's like millennials aren't having kids, so the nostalgia that they're reliving is kind of just a supplement for the fact that normally they would be creating new memories by sharing Christmas with their children. And since they can't do that because they're not having kids, they're just, as you say, nostalgia gooning over their own childhoods.
Yeah, which they also say were horrible, by the way.
At the same time.
Millennials say that they had it the hardest of any generation on the planet, yet they're obsessed with nostalgia.
I mean, I think most of that is tied to life after Occupy Wall Street. It's tied to
the way. I mean, if you were a millennial who had just recently entered the workforce at that time, or you were in college, the recession, it affected everyone, but unless your parents were trying to sell a house in 2007, like me, it probably didn't affect you that much, and you were still able to pay a very modest amount of rent for an apartment in a major first or second rate city.
Well, no, that's not how millennials felt it. What millennials felt was when Obamacare got passed and suddenly their hours got cut at work, and because they didn't want them going full time and stuff like that. No, it was you definitely felt it. Like those full time positions were definitely gone. It was felt, but in a different way. Maybe just because you weren't so bogged down by your depressing life online. You just, what's the meme was you just went out and partied and pretended like it wasn't happening, which is probably the healthier way to deal with it.
Yeah.
Than whatever the hell is going on now.
Yeah. More I think millennials went from being at one point the coolest people on the planet to tweeting about decency.
Oh boy.
And it sucks.
All right, let's move on. Guys, I'm afraid to say that there is more than enough. There is what they call a preponderance of evidence that woke 2.0 is here, and it's going to be worse than the first time around.
Yep, I'm sure you've heard the warnings that woke is back in the form of woke 2.0, as it's being called. I would argue that woke never left. It was always just lurking in the shadows, ready for a rebrand. And now we're seeing it back in full force. And we have a few different stories to back up this claim that are perfect vignettes, particularly a recent apology issued by Target Corporation over a Halloween costume that was compared to blackface. And this is an image of the costume. I don't know entirely what it's supposed to be, but they put it up on the website labeled "Kids Glows Under Blacklight Circus Clown Halloween Costume." I don't know. It's not very creative or original, but that's what the costume was. And because of the child model's pose in the photo, I think that's what really got all of these claims of racism underway. As you can see, it's being compared to this illustration of a blackface actor from like the Jim Crow era. And I'll explain, based on this article in the Washington Post, what that means. So this writer, Michelle Singletary, said, "As a parent who has purchased my share of scary Halloween costumes, I was particularly disturbed by the controversy now engulfing Target. The retailer is being berated on social media for a gaffe or gross misjudgment that many feel harks back to blackface." Target quickly removed the contents of the webpage, featuring a black boy in a Halloween clown costume resembling a minstrel caricature. The item was listed under Target's in-house boutique brand. In the photo, the boy is wearing a matching top and pants with orange and black zigzag stripes, black gloves, and a hood attachment with a tiny top hat. Instead of a traditional painted clown's face, the costume featured a mask with shockingly oversized teeth and a grinning smile. The kid looked like a miniature Sambo-style caricature, a trope that still makes me mad. It was part of a degrading history that should stay in the past, one where Black people were depicted as baboonish clowns. To understand today's outrage, you have to know how these characters were used to justify treating Black Americans as second-class citizens. Blackface imagery was prominent during the Jim Crow era and featured on postcards, cookie jars, and other retail items that showed exaggerated dark faces with bright red or white grinning lips. There were pickaninny caricatures showing Black children with unkempt clothes and hair. Who in the world would have approved that costume? How did it ever make it into the retailer's offerings? Target said in their apology statement, "We removed an offensive Halloween costume that should have never been part of our assortment. It's no longer for sale. As a company, we got this wrong and we are deeply sorry. We know this is especially hurtful for our Black guests, team members, and partners. Removing the costume is an important first step, and we are looking closely at how this happened and what needs to change to ensure this won't happen again." Despite the mea culpa, the backlash has been stinging, as it should be. Many people have pointed out that the child model is positioned with his body and hands in a similar way to the cover illustration of an early 19th century piece of sheet music titled Mr. T. Rice as the original Jim Crow, Rice being Thomas D. Rice, a white man who performed in blackface. I think this was also referenced in that This Is America music video from Childish Gambino. And he was praised for it at the time for like subverting the practice of blackface as a Black performer. But this is why people are freaking out. I think it's totally being blown out of proportion. It's probably just an unfortunate coincidence that the child model posed that way. But if he were just standing there in the costume, head on in a normal framed shot, nobody would have said anything.
I don't know. I think the hat might have been the tip off for some people, the angle of the hat and the fact that the hat is undersized and especially next to the the picture in picture there, it's definitely more noticeable. But do I believe that some photographer who secretly is enrolled with the KKK was taking Target photos? No, I don't believe that for a second there. But this is they could have just, in the same thing, we'll kind of get into it with the Callaway golf stuff as well, but it's would the better option just have been to quietly pull it and move on? Target has been kind of persona non grata with the left lately anyways because of their repealing of DEI policies and stuff at the company. So anytime you watch any skit on Instagram that features somebody doing stuff at Target, because Target is a hotbed for I don't know if it's because Targets are big and there's nobody walking around that works there, but people film skits in Target. Women who work from home film skits in Target all the time, and usually the comments are something like, y'all are still going to Target, we boycotted ages ago. So they're gonna get it from all sides on stuff like this. The right will hate them because they took the time to apologize
and we all remember the right-wing boycott
over the
following
kids'
their
clothes.
Pride collection.
Yep. So
fucking friendly swimsuits.
You're not going to win with these ones. Yeah. It's not going to happen. I'm more concerned about how unbelievably ugly the costume is and how devoid of inspiration it is. It really
Kids need to start making their own Halloween costumes again. What happened to that?
Literally, I thought because I didn't see the picture at first when they did this. I'm like, is this going to be one of those things where it's literally just a white sheet and they think it's a KKK person? Because
in a similar fashion, we're seeing a major panic arise over a recent advertisement from the golf media company Good and collaborating business called Callaway. They were making this advertisement for a driver, a golf club. I don't know anything about golf. That's all I know. And it featured the co-founder of the media company as one of the actors in this sort of horror movie spoof commercial idea. It was really bad.
Here's the thing about this commercial, guys, is I saw 30 different explanations about what they were going for with this commercial. And that's the problem. If it isn't obscenely clear what the purpose of the commercial is, you have failed.
So I guess in the commercial, female actor grabs the golf club and then he turns around and tackles her to the ground violently. So that is why people are freaking out over this.
I guess let's watch
trying to get them canceled.
It says Good presents The Driver. Here we go.
Do not touch my new driver.
He's not a good actor. I'm just going to go ahead and say this here. And it doesn't even sound like they're using microphones. It's literally just the native audio. But okay, let's continue.
I don't get the big deal. It's just a driver.
Johnny, no.
Johnny, no, don't do it.
John.
No.
Don't do it.
No, don't.
It needed a close-up shot here of his stupid facial expression that's supposed to insinuate that it has some kind of hold on him. They needed somebody they needed a better director for this.
Johnny, are you okay?
It's over. He's
the
gone.
lighting too.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Okay, so the ad is just really poorly made and confusing, but quickly drew backlash and was pulled down, with Callaway and Good both facing intense questions over how an ad showing a violent act against a woman would be approved and posted. The CEO of Callaway, Chip Brewer, admitted that his company approved the ad and apologized for the mistake, saying, "As we deal with the consequences of our mistake and complete our investigations, I want to make it clear that we sincerely apologize for the video. The content was inappropriate and does not reflect our values. We are unequivocally against discrimination, domestic violence, or threatening behavior of any kind."
Is it
Good
not
Good also apologized, saying, Good has always stood for making the game of golf more inclusive to all, and we will continue to ensure that is our mission moving forward. So the future of the PGA Tour is now hanging in the balance because Good is the brand sponsor for it this year. And they're still deciding on whether they should continue being the name of this year's PGA Tour in Texas starting this November. The CEO of the PGA Tour said that he was disappointed in Good's reaction to the controversy, saying the company did not show enough accountability. He said, "What we saw was concerning and is clearly not aligned with PGA Tour values. We take it very seriously. I think their initial response was disappointing. It was a bit defensive and late, but I think the responses are getting better." As for the subsequent response affecting the tournament in November, he said, "It's a fluid situation. We were disappointed at first. It sounds like in the last 24 hours, they have made some progress, but we'll continue to monitor the situation and see how it develops."
They're monitoring the situation.
So they're just going to need to double down on the apology even more. And they've also had a TV show postponed over this.
Merch has been pulled from stores.
Merch pulled. Yeah, it's a whole disaster that I would have never predicted just 2 years ago or even 1 year ago. I am kind of puzzled by the way that woke is rearing its head once again. We even have Jelly Roll guest hosting on Jimmy Kimmel Live, making fun of Trump and calling for him to lose weight. Quote, "Trust me, you'll be happy to see your penis again."
I mean, that's not like the biggest jab, but
I mean, yeah, but it's like we're really out here like on Jimmy Kimmel making fun of Trump the same way.
I mean, it's Jimmy Kimmel.
10 years ago.
It's Jimmy Kimmel.
Nothing really changes.
Kimmel is on break right now or whatever, so people are filling in for him. They probably had to sign contracts that you have to be willing to tell Trump jokes because it's part of the brand.
Exactly. But it just feels like we're stuck in the same mode.
Actually, you know what? I know how we get conspiratorial right now. Okay, so maybe what this is actually a bunch of right-wing think tanks paying for this stuff so that they can make people annoyed with woke again right before we get to the midterms so that they won't lose all their seats because everyone thinks that the Republicans are going to get crushed in the midterms. So maybe it's like, I don't know, what's a right-wing think tank? The Lincoln Project or something? Heritage Foundation? Like, they're the ones they paid Callaway Golf to make a bad ad and then apologize for it on purpose to get people to get back in line for the midterms. They're like, look, we can't end the war in Iran, but we can bring back getting canceled over stupid ads.
I think it's more likely that woke is actually back. They just decided to tone down the rhetoric a tiny bit and come off as a little bit more palatable to people. They've gone under
the vast majority
rebrand.
of them. They just flip flop and go whichever way the wind is blowing.
Yeah, they've disposed of the most excessive woke measures and toned it down a little bit to make it seem more palatable to the average normie. And it appears to be working. And I wonder if we're going to see more of these manufactured moral panics and apology tours in the next upcoming weeks and months.
Yeah.
If it is true, that woke is back.
We've got a 20 here from Easy E. I thought it said Easy A there. Do you got that one?
Yes. Let me see here. Pretty sure I saw the infamous Darky brand toothpaste. It's real. Look it up. In a Target outlet in China before they changed to Darly. So they know what they're doing. 10 out of 10 toothpaste, by the way. Brought 10 boxes back with me.
I feel like that would get you flagged at customs.
I actually have seen one of those bottles of toothpaste that a friend owns. I don't know how he got access to it, but that is a real thing. I didn't know it had anything to do with Target, though.
All right. We've got more stuff to get into. Northwest is in the news.
Yeah. Kanye was right when it comes to his daughter being exposed to social media and being in the public eye, being forced into the spotlight when she is just a child. Everything he said about that and his control as a parent being taken away from him, all of that was true. And now Northwest has been featured on a magazine cover for Dazed. And they have interviewed her about her burgeoning music career, which, of course, Kim approves of and is trying to promote. So she did this photo shoot for Dazed where, you know, she's rocking that signature look that we have seen from her before with the facial piercings, alternative clothes, long blue hair in the pigtails. Kim Kardashian reposted it, so she's trying to get more eyes on this coverage. And basically, this is her debut as a public figure. They say, born into the world's most visible family, Northwest has spent 13 years being watched. Now, with a riotous debut EP, she's ready to be seen on her own terms. So she's only 13 years old, just to make that clear. I think regardless of the fact that, you know, she is obviously covered up, there's no revealing clothing she's wearing here, it does feel sexualized.
Can you explain what you mean by that?
It's the makeup,
Yeah.
the piercings, and the grills. It's something is very vulgarized about an image of a 13-year-old girl looking like this. Like only an adult should, if they choose to.
Well,
but
plus,
this is,
when you look at this, like, it's a room of adults where this is taking place. It's adult photographers. It's adult.
this is exploitative.
Yeah.
It is. And I think it's exploitative also to have a conversation with a 13-year-old girl and publish the contents of that conversation for people to read.
Well, okay, so back in the day, like the Disney stars, right? They would have been what, in their late teens?
Usually,
And they would give interviews in like the teen magazines, like Tiger Beat and stuff.
They'd be like, I don't know, what's your favorite lip gloss?
Yeah.
Not asking them personal questions and also putting her in this strangely uncanny adult presentation. At least back then in the Disney days, like they still had to be family friendly, or at least, you know, appear to be that way superficially. They say Northwest was born to make headlines when her parents, Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, revealed her name 6 days after she arrived in the world. It became an instant cultural talking point. For days in 2013, everyone on the internet seemed to have an opinion, whether it was inspired or ridiculous, whether it was even a name at all. 13 years later, she is still sparking conversation, whatever she does. And towards the beginning of this interview, they mention that she has this alternative appearance and she's had to really push for it with her mom. And that includes the hand piercings that scar, by the way, permanently, facial piercings, both real and fake, and the hair dye. But she's saying that basically they've come to a point where she's bargained for this. And she's comparing herself to other girls her age, saying everyone's in love with boys vaping and doing all kinds of bad stuff. All I want is blue hair and piercings. Okay. So it's almost like Kim has thought to herself that this is a transaction they've made. Like, I'll let you present yourself this way if you basically, don't follow bad influences or do bad stuff. Like,
I mean,
vaping,
it's still
right? Why
a
does
deal
it have
with,
to be an either or situation? You're the parent. You're in charge.
plus it's a deal with the devil anyways. Like, it's not like she's eventually going to reach a certain age and be surrounded by more bad influences with nothing the parents can hold over their head to try and keep them on a good path.
Mm-hmm. And they ask her some questions about her career, which is just an insane thing to think about when we're talking about a middle school girl. She is literally a 7th grader at this stage. And they're asking her questions about performing and her future as a major musician. And in one of these, they ask her, what's the worst piece of advice you've ever received? And she said, it's to start my career later. Like, nah, this is my hobby. This is what I like to do. And this is what I want to do with my life. You're 13. You do not know what you want to do with your life. But unfortunately, it just looks like she doesn't have her own choices, This is all that's ever been presented to her as an option.
The other thing about this is, guys, so this article is in Dazed, and here's the thing. You could read this whole article and get down to the bottom, and then when you get down to the bottom, there's like a trending bar there with other articles. And I kid you not, the second article down, which is directly under the text from her, is in pictures, Bob Carlos Clark's darkly charged erotica with like a woman that's nearly nude, and that's, presumably it's going to be other 13-year-olds that find their way to this publication to read about Northwest because they're around the same age.
That's
people in that
point.
age range,
Yeah.
and it's going to immediately put them into content that is too mature for them and that they will never be able to understand at their age.
Right. Like, they couldn't have set this up in Teen Vogue or something.
Exactly.
I mean, Teen Vogue is pretty bad, but not Dazed is an alternative adult publication. It's kind of sleazy in nature. This is not somewhere where a 13-year-old should be featured and gawked at and attracting other children to this website. It's just not appropriate. They also asked her, if you weren't an artist, what do you think you would be? I know you wanted to be a basketball player at one point. Is that still in the cards? She said, no. What would I be? I still want to work. I want to work at like Starbucks next year. I think I can next year because I'm going to be 14. So I think I can. I want to have a regular job, I guess.
That is being a millennial, that would be Kim Kardashian's spiritually most boomer take, would be to let her extremely privileged and wealthy daughter go work at Starbucks. And then that child not understanding like how much everybody working there would probably resent her.
I just don't even know what to say. This is it just grosses me out. It really feels so exploitative, and Kim has never known life not having or being a stage mom. So this seems normal to her, but that doesn't absolve her of accountability here. Mm-hmm. And everything that Kanye said about North being on TikTok, posting videos, hanging out with adults, including like celebrities like Ice Spice, or even, I think she did a collab with like FKA Twigs. This is just not okay. And nobody took him seriously at the time when he said those things, and that his control as a parent was being disregarded and taken away from him. And now we can see the end result. And it's like watching a train wreck in real time.
I mean, part of that is, oddly enough, the weird thing is like Kanye West is also not a good arbiter of like, of putting you on a moral path given his behavior in recent years. And in most cases, to an outside eye, if you're not looking at this closely, Kim Kardashian looks like the more like put together person.
Right. She seems like the one who has her shit together.
Yeah. Address this point. There's a comment in here in the chat from Spike. Spike in Madness says, just stop talking about these idiots and giving them the attention they are craving.
Well, if we didn't talk about any of these idiots, I guess pop culture podcasts wouldn't exist. Well, I think we've defended our own existence.
Well, no, okay, that's not it though. But it's not just that. It's like the thing is though, music especially falls victim to stan culture, where it's all love all the time, and you have to support everything they do. There were more articles coming out today about why you can't criticize Ariana Grande. Despite the fact that, you know, she looks like she's literally turning into like a tree root. The problem is like it's actually just as important to have a voice that offers an alternative perspective to what the dominant narrative is from those that push this type of stuff. So it's a nice sentiment, but I don't believe that not talking about it makes it go away. In fact, all that does is give it more power in the narrative, in the public narrative. So no, somebody has to have an opinion that runs contrary to what the mainstream opinion is. Especially
when this involves a child who doesn't have self-determination or the foresight to understand how this will affect her later in life. Like, she could deeply regret this even in a year's time, maybe 10. But this is not a wise decision, and it's exploitative, and I would even say pedophilic in nature, the way that she is being presented right now. All right. Cringe of the day, perhaps? Or would you like to see the cute of the day? Sure, let's start with the cringe. All right, here we go. Cringe of the day, ladies and gentlemen. It says, blasting embarrassing videos in the library, part 2. This guy should be banned. Come on. I haven't seen part 1, but this one was pretty bad.
The best way to practice French kissing is to try it out with a partner. Before you start, make sure they're okay with it. Say something like, I've always wanted to learn how to French kiss. Want to try it with me? If they say yes, take some time to prepare. Since French...
What's up?
Oh, I was like, is he going to have like fake headphones in? Looks like he did. He like, when the person said, what's up? He like pulled out a headphone like, oh, it's not in my headphones.
She was brave for saying something. Yeah. Truly.
Kissing involves a lot of super intimate mouth-to-mouth contact. Always make sure your breath is fresh before you start. Brush your teeth, swish some mouthwash, or use a breath mint.
What's up?
It's very loud outside.
You heard that? Yeah. You want to practice?
I mean, you know what the sad thing is like, it's just a simulation of an embarrassing moment because he's getting exactly what he wants out of it.
It's getting smart glasses content right here.
All right. Let's do the cute of the day. This is from Pat the Plumber. I saw him in the chat earlier. Fury straight up lounging.
Aww.
Fury
very
looks
fluffy.
Fury looks very tired, very sleepy. Very cute though.
Going string bean mode.
Yep. All right, let's move on. We've got more stuff to get into. It's sad to say, but they're making Dolly Parton's death political.
Yes, as you've probably already heard, the news broke yesterday that Dolly Parton passed away at the age of 80 after a brief battle with cancer. And I just can't even express how joyless and utterly soulless you have to be to politicize the death of someone so universally beloved as Dolly Parton. But that is exactly what people are doing on mainly the left. They're either claiming her as some sort of Antifa crusader and trying to defend her on that basis, or they're impugning her bona fides as a leftist by questioning whether she sufficiently supported their pet cause, which of course is Palestine. So First of all, when Trump announced that U.S. flags were to be lowered to half-staff throughout the country, they absolutely freaked out over that news, saying if Trump wanted to actually honor Dolly's legacy, he would stop sending us to war and putting children in cages and bullying trans people.
They also politicized it by saying, but the right had a problem when Obama did it for Whitney Houston.
Also, it's like they're claiming the wrong people are mourning her death, including J.K. Rowling, who recounted meeting Dolly Parton at one point years ago, and they were offended that she would even speak positively about Dolly Parton because they hate J.K. Rowling. Trump also posted on Truth Social, very sad to report that Dolly Parton, one of the greatest country singers and far beyond, has just passed away. This is a true loss for millions of people. There has never been anyone like her and never will. In her honor, I'm lowering the American flag throughout the United States for a 1-week period beginning tonight. Rest in peace, Dolly. The world loves you. And then the left follows that up with their own tribute post. From the DSA, Democratic Socialists of America extends our deepest condolences to the family, friends, and fans of Dolly Parton, a hero for the working class and inspiration to us all. Yet some others are criticizing her for not supporting leftist causes sufficiently.
Oh boy.
One asked whether Dolly Parton donated or had a stance on Palestine on Instagram.
I cannot stress enough how mentally deranged and brain dead you have to be for this to be your takeaway from the situation. And this only gets worse when you see the responses they gave to somebody who responded.
Thankfully, yes, someone did call them out for this distasteful post, saying, this is weird. Dolly literally created Dollywood because she wanted to pull her community out of poverty, helped fund the COVID vaccine, was nothing but supportive to the LGBTQIA community, was a vocal supporter of BLM. Her imagination library ensured that kids received a free book until they were 5. Not to mention, she was one of the few ethical celebs out there because she constantly and actively donated and didn't hoard her wealth. She is nothing but kind and good, and it's pretty disrespectful of you to question her ethics like this when so many are mourning her. And this person responds saying, you mean ethnic cleansing and genocide? I'm confused on your take, hun.
No, it's worse because before that, like, they responded and said, but did she have a stance on the ethnic
and then they
cleansing
said,
and genocide of Palestinians?
Just because she didn't speak openly doesn't mean she isn't a good person or that she didn't care. What's going on there is awful, but it's really weird the way y'all have made Palestine into a litmus test to determine whether someone is worth feeling empathy for or not. She cared for everyone. Just because she didn't speak out or wasn't vocal doesn't automatically mean she is a bad person. Where is this energy for people like Chris Brown, Johnny Depp, Diddy, aka abusers that have openly hurt others but are still allowed a pass? Not to mention, what about actual celebs that support Israel like Gal Gadot? Why not show up with that same energy for people like them?
I mean, that does happen to all of them, though. That's a horrible argument. That's not the point. Like, they're different people having different discussions. But then this person continues, you mean ethnic cleansing and genocide? I'm confused on your take, hun. Like, that hun would have just set me off.
Yeah, they're not arguing against this posture for the right reasons or sufficiently shaming this person. But one of the tweets that was related to this specific accusation against Dolly Parton said, one day we are going to have a discussion about how everything that happened after October 2023 has already broken the brains of much of the online left, driving people into psychosis, making them less politically effective, all while doing nothing to actually help Palestinians. We are not quite ready for that conversation yet, but more people are starting to realize it. So even people on the left are disgusted by people on their own side for the way that they're replying to this. And others are using Dolly Parton's death as a way to draw attention to their political adversaries not dying first.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically Trump. One said Dolly Parton dying before him feels like a cruel joke.
There was multiples of that. Like there were so many of them.
Everyone dying except that orange effing piece of shit. How is any of this fair?
I mean, there was other ones that were even less broad that were saying like all the wrong white people dying.
Great.
I saw this one that I sent you. It said Dolly Parton's death is actually inherently political. Oh my god. Whether you like it or not, she grew up in poverty and has talked many times about the lack of education in the South. That's why she wanted kids to have free books and she advocated for minorities. She effing hated Trump. I mean, you can't prove that because
he wasn't a hateful person. Though.
Exactly. That's the point.
She's not like you people. Yeah. Like she was never one to harbor hate in her heart the way that these people do, clearly. And they're in a way disgracing her legacy by likening themselves to her.
How does she feel about colonialism, Mary? Dolly Parton posing with U.S. soldiers during Operation Desert Storm.
There are other claims that 9 to 5 is an inherently Marxist film. I mean, I just don't even know where to start with this level of mental illness.
That's the problem, is like when your whole worldview is filtered through that. And look, I also get annoyed. I got annoyed when Rob Reiner dies and Trump, makes
that was disgusting.
Like makes it disgusting too. It's like at this point they're like, well, he was mean to Trump, so Trump's mean to him. Like, I do not fucking care anymore. Okay, I don't care. A little bit of public decorum goes a long way in winning over people in the middle who are not so politically brained, because then you're just two sides of the same coin. Then the people who are as far right as can be love that stuff. Maybe not as far right, because Trump is hardly what they would even consider far right by today's standards. But like the people who are all in for him have their own moments to do it, but then get upset when it happens to them going the other direction. And both sides do it because nobody actually cares about decorum. They care about winning one for their side. Dolly Parton should be a win for decency and generosity. The things we covered on her yesterday had all to do with the many things she's done right for society, the many charities she's donated to, the many people she's helped. And the second you make it about hatred of another person, you're not living in her image. So don't pretend to make it a rallying cry.
I did just think it was interesting that Taylor Swift shared a tribute to Dolly Parton when she was completely silent about Toby Keith's death, who she actually had a personal connection with more so than she did with Dolly Parton. Found that a little bit targeted, but I thought it was interesting how people started pointing out the universal goodwill surrounding Dolly Parton and wondering if that applies to anyone else. Matt Walsh tweeted, many people have pointed out that Dolly Parton was the last universally beloved figure in American life. Who else is there? Alex Trebek, technically Canadian, was another one, but he's been dead for like 6 years now.
Weird Al, I saw.
I don't know if I can think of another example.
Weird Al is the name that many people have given, that Weird Al would fall into that category. Other people have said Keanu Reeves, but you proved that wrong because you don't like Keanu Reeves. But also I saw no.
Julie Andrews?
I saw no. But here's the point. I saw no in the chat, and he's been spamming this for like the last 15 minutes. He says it's not Universal because no doesn't like Dolly Parton. Universal is not universal. Universal means the vast, overwhelming majority feel that way. You can't be Dolly Parton level fame and not have at least a couple of haters. What is the dominant prevailing feeling from both sides of the political aisle and from all corners of the globe? Well, on all corners, for all corners of the globe, Dolly Parton seems to be what would qualify as universally beloved.
Right. I also found this take interesting. Anna Kachian said, it's remarkable she is so universally loved because her model of femininity is so derided and discouraged today. Taking personal responsibility, not being a victim, never complaining, being nice to men because they're people too, letting them down easy if you're not into it, putting them in their place if they step out of line, but being discreet about it and not trying to ruin anyone's life. That is true. She had a very subtle dignity about her that people don't exemplify today.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just an interesting moment when like someone as universally loved as her is gone, because I don't know if there's anyone who can fill that void ever again.
I do think that Keanu Reeves,
especially in the age of social media.
I do think that Keanu Reeves will fit into that realm, obviously, to a certain extent, given the fact that he's known to be unbelievably generous with the people that he works with, you know, the crew and everything like that. He's famous for his hover hand to be polite to his female co-stars when he's on the red carpet, and he just seems to be a very, very well-liked individual. You know, it's like those memes that are like, it's like, we regret to inform you that so-and-so, and then you think it's going to be something bad, but then it's like, is a really nice person that everybody likes. That's how Keanu Reeves is seen. Well,
even on like a matter of scale and public visibility, you know, Keanu Reeves probably couldn't start, you know, a theme park named after him.
I bet you he could.
Right.
I bet you he could. Especially with a unique name like that. I bet you
he think he could? Keanu World?
I think he could make Keanu Land, and it's just on what, like, there's a ride that's literally the movie Speed on a right on a bus, and then another one over here where you're surfing, where it's Point Break. Then you've got one where you like literally have to learn like Pilates or something, and it's the Matrix when you're doing bullet time. And then you have another one where you run around with airsoft guns and do stuff from John Wick.
That would be legally dicey, I'm sure.
He doesn't
own any of the IP, but
Keanu Land could absolutely work.
Yeah. And who's to say if the rule of threes when it comes to celebrity deaths is actually true? But
does Hayden Panettiere not fall into this? Is this a timeline thing? Like,
I mean, I think that would be, if this is another example of that, it would be Hayden Panettiere, Dolly Parton, and then Tim Curry, whose death was announced today, and similarly died at the age of 80.
Well, I'm sorry, but the Gen Xers will be sad to see that Storm from the original American Gladiators also passed away on the same
rule
day.
Of fours, then.
Rule of fours. So, well, not like the rule of threes doesn't work anymore because, you know, you have so much more access to information where somebody dies that you don't, you know, that was famous maybe in another part of the world, but you get
But last year, it was Ozzy Osbourne and Hulk Hogan, and then there were a couple of others who
Malcolm
died
Jamal Warner died around that time.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of them last year, and there have been an unbelievable amount this year as well. Like I said, Catherine O'Hara, Davy Chase. There have been who else? I was just literally looking at this.
I know Michelle Trachtenberg was last year, right?
I think that was last year. Yeah. But there was more. There was Sam Neill.
Mm-hmm.
Bonnie Tyler. I didn't even know Bonnie Tyler died. Eric Dane died this year.
Oh.
A lot of celebrities have passed away this year. It's very, very sad.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on. We're done with the depressing stuff. Let's move on.
Hollywood
sorry. Chuck Norris too. We cannot forget.
Right. That was that this year or last?
That was this year. We cannot forget Chuck Norris. Yep.
I also just have such a bad sense of time now.
Thank you, chat.
Okay. Hollywood moms get a bad rap, and deservedly so, because usually we're hearing about the worst of the worst, including Megan Fox, Angelina Jolie, Charlize Theron, Jennifer Garner, Jennifer Lopez as well. And usually that's because not only do they put their kids in the spotlight, but they also encourage them to trans themselves. In all of those examples I just listed, that is true. But Anna Faris has now been caught in the crosshairs, being derided as one of these crazy Hollywood moms who is brainwashing her child. And that is her son, Jack, who is 14 years old, that she shares with her ex-husband, Chris Pratt. And their relationship history is one that is very controversial and hotly debated online, mainly because people claim that Chris Pratt doesn't have the same bond with his son, Jack, as he does with his younger children, whom he had with his second wife, Katherine Schwarzenegger. But I don't think that's a fair thing to claim. I also think a lot of the claims going around about Anna Faris right now are unfair and probably twisting this conversation around. She recently did an interview on Chelsea Handler's podcast, and to my great shock, Chelsea Handler did not interject in this conversation with some vulgar, out of touch, tone deaf comment. She let Anna Faris talk about her conversations that she has with Jack regarding religion, because Anna Faris comes from an irreligious background. She basically is agnostic, but has no religious affiliation whatsoever. But her son, Jack, has been raised in the Christian faith because Chris Pratt is a Christian. And as we know, statistically, if a child's father practices a certain religion, it is far more likely for children to hold on to that as they get older. So this has been something they have talked about privately, and she decided to share about that on this interview. She said of Jack, he is religious. I didn't grow up with religion. He has asked me to accept Jesus Christ as my savior, and I told him that I would do anything for him, including this, but it's going to take a lot of long conversations. She explained that Jack is solid emotionally and doesn't get easily jarred, which is why she can push up against his beliefs and open a productive dialogue. He's impressive, actually, because I try to challenge him. I'm like, do you think it's a luxury that you get to be pro-life? That is kind of a luxury. And he says, maybe. Or I'll say, what do you think of this mega pastor that's kind of a grifter? And he's like, oh, mega pastors are the worst. So it's like, okay, he's getting there. She noted that she's appreciative that Jack is examining religion in a way that allows room for recognizing hypocrisy, adding that the teen handles situations really well. So people saw this headline going around about him getting challenged by his mom on his Christian faith and his moral principles. And on both sides, people just took this headline and ran with it. Mm-hmm. One person with a trans flag in their screen name responded, woke moms co-parenting with their chud ex-husbands are literally put through hell, referring to Chris Pratt, of course, as the chud ex-husband in question. And Kevin Sorbo actually quote tweeted this headline saying, parents must affirm their child unless that child happens to be Christian. And a lot of people were pointing out like, oh, well, if Jack came to his mom and said that he's a girl, then she would be affirming him. Thank you. But now that he's like talking about his faith, he's pushing back on it, right?
Hold on. Okay.
And who's to say if that's actually true, right? Like, what if he did try to, come out as trans to his mom? We don't know how she would respond to that. So I think that's probably a stretch of the truth.
I mean, at the very least,
people are acting like this kid is, in first grade or something. And we're actually talking about a teenager. And I do think that a teenager is fully capable of having deep conversations with their parents and with adults in general about important topics like religion or morality. That isn't surprising to me at all. And there's nothing wrong with having the ability to do that. Like I think it's ideal if you're on the same page with as parents about these important subjects. But obviously that's something that, they never saw eye to eye on as parents before and after getting a divorce. And they're just making the best of an awkward situation that's difficult to deal with. But it would be much worse if she outright refused to talk about something that's important to her son, right?
Yeah.
I agree.
Especially if
with
she was dismissive and then wouldn't talk about it. That would be something else entirely.
It's not like she's insulting him or dismissing it out of hand. She is being open-minded and not getting enough credit for that. You should be on the same page with someone about how to raise your child in regard to religion and morality. But if, like many people, you don't have that conversation prior to marriage and having a child, this is a situation that will arise, and you will have to address it one way or another. Zach Peter quote tweeted this and said, "This headline is misleading. I actually listened because I was curious. He wants her to accept Christ. She said she is open to it, but wants him to understand hypocrisy in religion. And she says she's impressed with his understanding and discernment. She wants to make sure he understands what he believes and why he believes it. The fact that she even told him that she's open, I found to be very refreshing. And the fact that she doesn't shut down his ideas."
Yep.
So I think people are definitely twisting this and painting with a broad brush when it comes to Hollywood parents, which I can't really blame them for that, since they're all, generally speaking, so insane. And they do have a tendency to like brainwash their children into destructive ideologies and self-destructive behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, she shares something that's actually, authentic and genuine and complicated. And you can't really do that online without people taking your words out of context.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I mean, the headlines were always going to do that. Like, I knew when I sent you the story the first time, like, this is going to get blown out of proportion, either by one side or by the other. Turned out it was both. So I underbet. I figured one side would end up being the one to do that, but that's not what ended up happening here. And also, you have to remember that they're co-parenting, right? Like, this is with Chris Pratt being as religious as he is and is hated for that religion as he is, given the industry that he works in. It's a very, very mature thing for the family to be able to kind of coalesce around something they don't necessarily all see eye to eye on and still be able to raise their family together. And that's something that I'd rather see more of rather than less, especially with Hollywood's general, attitude towards religion being what it is.
People have also been making some pretty outrageous claims about Anna Faris since the recent installment of the Scary Movie franchise, because she was doing, red carpet interviews as the rest of the cast was. And people were quote tweeting these videos claiming that she's drugged out of her mind, that she's on Ozempic and all this stuff, saying she's drunk and high at a press event. And I don't know, I watched these interview clips and I don't see what they're talking about. She's just acting like her usual quirky self. And even in the same interview that she just did with Chelsea Handler, she said that she's sober.
Yeah.
So unless you want to just claim that she's outright lying about being sober, I don't think there's any evidence to claim otherwise. So, people are kind of just spinning tales with no facts to back it up. The best point that I saw in response to this story was just that your decision of who to marry and start a family with is the most important decision you'll ever make. And it is indisputably important to be on the same page with someone about how to raise your kids and the foundational values that they should have. But most people, celebrities or not celebrities, don't do that. Like, most people do not have those hard conversations when they're dating and looking for a spouse.
Well, even if they were having this discussion in Hollywood, this would be the rarest form of that discussion, given the fact that religion is attached to it. And most people in Hollywood, they're about as religious as it takes to thank God when they win an award, and that's about it.
Speaking of which, there's only so much foresight you can have into who you will be in the future. And I think Chris Pratt even said his sort of religious reawakening and his connection with his Christian faith occurred after Jack was born.
Yeah.
So it's not like they could have seen this coming, that he was going to feel as strongly as he does now about Christianity. But he had a come to Jesus moment, essentially.
Did you see
when
that,
Jack was a baby in the NICU and he was pleading with God and made essentially a foxhole prayer that was like, if you save my son's life, I will make it my mission to share the truth of the gospel with the world, with the platform I have. And he has done that. He has followed through on that. But, sometimes you don't see into the future or predict the convictions that you'll have 10, 15 years down the line.
Did you see the video of Donnie Wahlberg and Jenny McCarthy getting baptized?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, Donnie Wahlberg basically posted a video from him and his wife's baptism in a non-denominational church, and basically said, like, I've had all this success, I've had all this good fortune in life, but I still felt like something was missing. And that was posted like last week or something like that.
Interesting. I feel like I'm seeing a lot of stories like that, but like maybe it's just my algorithm.
Well, mine's just because I being an old school Blue Bloods fan, when Donnie Wahlberg news comes up. Also, he's one of those people that's unabashedly one of the best follows on social media because he's so positive about everything. He's literally the exact opposite of the character he plays in the TV show, who's extremely surly and annoyed all the time. But in real life, he just seems like the happiest person you've ever, almost suspiciously happy all the time.
Also, since I did list some examples of crazy Hollywood moms, I did think it appropriate to bring up this story about Meghan Trainor. She gifted her son a look-alike doll of herself to cope with separation anxiety.
What separation anxiety? Nobody came to her concerts. They all got canceled.
Canceled her tour. I don't know why are you having separation anxiety? She canceled the tour to hang out with you, kid. But this reminded me of that like horrible rhesus monkey study where they, tested the attachments these baby monkeys would form to replicas of their mothers. So they found that the baby monkeys would form more of a bond with a plush version of a mother than a metal replica that was cold and unfeeling, but provided food.
Well, that thing is freaking weird. So, all right, let's move on. We've got more stuff to talk about.
This is going to make me mad. I already know. Kristen Stewart wants to ruin Twilight. She wants to take Twilight, make it lame and gay. And I fully oppose this agenda. But this was something that she recently joked about in an interview with Andy Cohen alongside co-star Aaliyah Shawkat, and said she wants to continue the Twilight story rather than simply remaking it. In a past interview, she gestured at wanting to direct a Twilight movie in the future, but she said she wanted to reboot the Twilight franchise into a version where Bella Swan, her character, returns and comes out as gay. So, of course, Kristen Stewart, being now out as a lesbian in the public eye, feels the need to self-insert her own personality onto this character that she played over a decade ago. When asked about previous comments that she would be open to a Twilight reboot, she said she had been mostly joking, but said a continuation would interest her more than a rehashing of the original story. Then Aaliyah Shawkat suggested how such a continuation could begin. Bella would come back and be like, "I'm gay." Kristen Stewart laughed, and Shawkat described the idea as hot, modern, and fresh. And the two then said that Kristen Stewart's wife, Dylan Meyer, would write the project. Stewart
so it's nepotism too. That's even worse.
Stewart continued the joke by imagining a more aggressive version of Bella, saying, quote, "I'm gonna F your whole family."
Is this
I don't
like one
know.
of those like?
I don't know what that means.
Is this like one of those improv troops? Yes, ands.
Yeah, they're kind of doing improv in the middle of this interview and like hoping that people don't take it too seriously. Obviously, everything they're saying here is tongue in cheek, but she has made serious comments in the past trying to reframe Twilight as a gay story. She pointed to its themes of hidden desire and wanting what's going to destroy you, saying that she gave it a very gothic gay inclination.
You know what? You could do that with literally any preference. If you were a woman who secretly liked really short guys, you could say that movie is a pro short guy movie because it has hidden desires that you're not willing to admit because you pretend along with your friends that you want you see that video recently of the girl at the dorm who put like the 6 feet marker over her door?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like secretly she wants like somebody Tom Cruise height, but she can't admit that. So it's a form of secret desire that she just can't admit to the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This topic is near and dear to my heart because I am a fan of the Twilight movies, though I'll admit I've never read the book series, and I probably never will because I don't read fiction. I am a late adopter, though, because I had zero interest in it when it was popular. I was still probably too young to watch the movies. It wasn't appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
But, I watched the movies all the way through for the first time in like 2019, maybe. And I immediately saw what the appeal was, and it's not vampires and werewolves. It's not these supernatural elements that were great for marketing at the time. That's basically just a way to brand it and make merchandise. But I do feel this was such a popular story, mainly because of its depiction of traditional romance between a male and a female, which is revolutionary these days. And that was like one of the last moments in pop culture where girls just enjoyed something that everyone understood was for girls, and it wasn't a problem. But now you have to take everything that a certain demographic likes and twist it into something it's not, to modernize it.
I never watched any of I saw somebody mention True Blood. True Blood is a show that it sits on the queue where it's one of those shows along with Mad Men where it's like, I'll get around to it one day. But like, there are like lowbrow shows that the CW did on vampires, like the Originals and Vampire Diaries, that soap opera style stuff that was very popular because of the time, like you're saying, in the craze of vampires. I don't know how those shows go with telling that type of traditional story, but on the CW you're expecting the female audience, so that might be the last time that this was allowed.
I never watched the Vampire Diaries.
I bet
Never got into it.
I imagine that you would like it. I don't know why.
I think I might have tried to get through the pilot episode and got bored and turned it off.
Yeah.
But I'm very particular. Here were some of the responses, by the way, from the anti-woke crowd. I think it's fair to call them that. One said, it wasn't already gay enough. And it's already so gay. I know, right? This is the one movie I'd be happily supporting the woke destroying. This is just a bunch of people who never liked it in the first place, who don't understand why stories like this for an audience of young women matter, because it is a far more innocent and traditional story than people give it credit for. Mainly because Edward is a male love interest that he has traditional values like chivalry. In fact, this is an element in the books because the author is Mormon. They wait until marriage. In fact, this is quite alien as a concept in modern day pop culture, and it was at the time as well. And most people just see it for the supernatural elements of the story of like mythical creatures and blood-sucking vampires, and then kind of write it off because of that. But that just means like you're not the target demo. That's fine. But
like I would have
things like
never,
that
like I never
matter.
cared, and I never would have watched it. But it's because I understood that it just wasn't in my wheelhouse.
And I would say that I think the popularity of Twilight at its peak coincided with the popularity of Justin Bieber when he first rose to fame. That was kind of the last moment in our culture before everything went totally insane, that young women could just enjoy things that were for them, that were basically age appropriate and appeal to what they want to see. And I mean, Justin Bieber at the time, it was just basic like love songs. And he's just a cute heterosexual guy their age that they find handsome and charming. Nothing objectionable about it.
Does Ed Sheeran get to fit in that category? I mean, obviously not for being young, but just in general, the last mostly unproblematic heterosexual pop star that...
I mean, for the lyrical content, yeah.
Like it's
definitely.
mostly love songs, right? Or stuff in that vein. But he has a Quirk Chungus side that makes him likable to the public. Like he does a lot of movie cameos and stuff like that.
It was kind of before all pop music became girl bossing and, you know, revenge songs. Like it's just like self-obsessed narcissism in the lyrical content of pop music now.
I think Ed Sheeran is underutilized in the culture. I think like he would be a good path back to, you know, a more traditional pop star.
We've seen the death almost simultaneously of both love songs and love stories. And I do think that Twilight is a good example of that. And I will do whatever it takes to prevent Kristen Stewart from stealing that away and destroying it and twisting it into something to fit her narrative and her agenda. After, by the way, she stars in this flop of a lesbian boxing movie that no one watched or cared about.
And if Sydney Sweeney can't pull it off, then you, my friend,
you see that,
definitely can't.
Epic failure of your, you know, gay love story that no one wanted to see, you have to then take something that people actually like as the pattern goes and destroy it. This is like a hobby for people in Hollywood.
And you know who else tried to change some source material and make it gay was Andrew Garfield, which I did not know until I read this yesterday was from an interview all the way back a decade ago now. No, I'm sorry, 13 years ago now.
Yeah.
Where he said that he wanted Peter Parker to explore his sexuality and he wanted MJ to be played by none other than Michael B. Jordan. So not very creative on the initials there because they're literally both MJ. He goes, what if MJ is a dude? Why can't he be gay? Why can't he be into boys? And I was like, this can't be real. It is real.
But it's from like 15 years ago or something.
Like from back in the day.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad they never listened to him because that's a horrible idea. Anyways, as I pointed out in my post about this earlier today, the main reason why Twilight is never going to come back, and I'm in a weird way thankful this happened, is that Kristen Stewart, of course, cheated on Robert Pattinson at the time in, I think, 2012 when she was working with the director of Snow White and the Huntsman. Yeah. And that man was, by the way, married at the time and a father to young children. And that was how that relationship crashed and burned. And Donald Trump had to go on Twitter and defend Robert Pattinson's honor, telling him not to take her back.
Has he been doing that about Tom Holland and Zendaya too? Was that the other one? Who's the other one?
I wish.
I love that Trump cares about, you know, like celebrity relationships.
He said, and I think this is from October 2012, everyone is asking me to speak more on Robert and Kristen. I don't have time except to say, Robert, drop her. She cheated on you and will again. And there are just like 20 different iterations of Trump saying this. And he was right. He was absolutely right.
Here's that article, by the way, from Variety back in 2013, July 10th, 2013. Wow. Andrew Garfield on Spider-Man. Why can't he be gay? Why can't he be gay?
I mean,
He told Entertainment Tonight he recently had a discussion with Matt Tolmach, the producer of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, about MJ, or Mary Jane, one of Spider-Man's love interests. He mentioned the state of the character's sexuality and the prospect of having a man in his web-slinging arms.
bro.
I was kind of joking, but kind of not joking about MJ, he said. I was like, what if MJ is a dude? Why can't he discover that Peter is exploring his sexuality? It's hardly even groundbreaking.
I mean, in 2013, it kind of would have been, yeah, in a bad way.
I'm not seeing anything here about the Michael B. Jordan part, but that might just not be done in this sum up here. But, you know, imagine you're like Michael B. Jordan and you're like, I don't know how I feel about that. Kind of offended, kind of
Little
flattered,
creepy.
little flattered, but kind of offended at the same time.
Yeah.
He's like, is this like a weird come on?
How about no? How about make your own gay characters that no one cares about or watches?
All right, let's move on. Let's go to Super Chats. And guys, come on.
Right.
We're like a quarter of the way to a second crisis party. Let's go.
I believe in us. Wait, did we miss a 20 here?
I think we did from Shane H. Wilder.
Oh. They follow the adage, never let a good tragedy go to waste. How you can politicize someone's death, especially someone like Dolly, that was loved by everyone from the rich to the poor, from rednecks to gangstas.
Yep.
I
Everybody
wasn't
loved
expecting
her.
that at the end.
We got a
Yeah.
member. We have a member chat here from Dingus Khan of Gongolia, who says, "Bro is just defending his property. Ask any golfer." Yeah, I suppose. You know, they might not take kindly to touching their stuff. That's like, so in skating, there are some people that really don't like it if you.
They can't see you, by the way.
They can. Oh, yeah. Like in skating, there's people that really can't stand if you touch their stuff. There's other people that don't care as much. It's a whole thing.
I don't know if that justifies tackling someone
No.
to the ground, though.
No.
Gotta be honest. Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Wednesday, Brett and Mary." So I got a follow back from Kyler after my latest meme over "Don't kick a Titus" for a internet show. So that's kind of cool. I swear I saw that earlier, but like, I don't know. The page refreshed and I can't find it again. But yeah, we just put out another episode on a internet show's channel, which is about fake diseases. One of my favorite topics because
Lyme
I think
disease.
most of them are fake. Chronic Lyme was one of them,
Chronic
as well
Lyme.
as alternative treatments that people use for it, such as intentionally stinging yourself with bees.
Mm-hmm. I saw. There's a great YouTuber who she's done some great retrospectives. Her name is Sloane Stowe, and she released a video fairly recently that I haven't gotten around to watching yet. And it's why Hollywood refuses to give us characters with ADHD. And I'm just thinking about, because they'd be the most annoying person in the world, and it would all sound.
There are no characters with ADHD.
There was one example somebody gave recently where some character in a TV show is like told to take, like it's like a child, and they're told by their parents to take their Adderall. I believe the character in Jane the Virgin, their son has really, really bad ADHD, and the dad is really against putting him on meds, and the mom is really for putting him on meds. Guess which side wins in the end?
Any adult characters though?
I mean, I don't watch enough modern TV to know, but
I
it's
guess-
just like, how do you show it? Like it's gonna look annoying, and I'll tell you why. And I'll tell you why. As somebody who was prescribed to ADHD medication for a very, very long time when I was a young adult, the things that a person with ADHD or somebody who says they have ADHD have a problem with, they feel like the end of the world to you, but it would never be interesting in the vein of a story that everybody else is supposed to care about. Your inability to like finish your chore list because you keep getting distracting, however much that might bother you, and it does, that doesn't change the fact that it's not visually interesting. It's not interesting as far as the story. This is the same reason why I have a problem with the way that things are made these days in general, which is like, they're like, why is it a majority men when you get to these big budget blockbuster movies? Well, I'll tell you why. Because the stories that are inherently interesting that men star in, they're just more predisposed to being male roles. Guy in the military, guy in the CIA, guy working for the FBI. Yes, there are women that do those roles, but they tend to go towards men because it's more believable. Whatever that is, that story is more interesting than somebody who works in the mailroom at some building. And it's not to do with sexism. It's that movie's going to have a lower budget. It's not going to be released at the same time. And a story about somebody with ADHD might be interesting to you, but it's not going to serve a larger story in any real way unless you can find the one they go with is drug addiction. That's Hollywood's fallback for stuff like that. Like in Mr. Robot, the main character is addicted to morphine, and he has to take his morphine, and then he has to take his Suboxone after so that he won't go through withdrawal. That was a kind of interesting concept to bring to television, but it's just, nobody's going to care. It's like, oh, I keep trying to get stuff done. And it's better served in Instagram shorts. People make funnier content about ADHD as Instagram shorts where it's like, it's literally me.
But then they would still get mad at Hollywood for depicting it in a humorous light because they're not taking it seriously, like what we go through.
That's even more
There's
annoying.
no winning.
Like, the one I saw
your
recently.
hyper-specific firsthand experiences do not need to be reflected back at you.
Yes.
In a production that costs millions of dollars. Like, get over yourself.
Seriously.
There are probably far more examples, though, of like adult characters in both comedies and dramas that have autism.
And even that's a minefield now because you can't do the Rain Man anymore. They can't be good. They can't be really good at math anymore.
Yeah, there is young Sheldon, obviously.
Yeah.
Who?
Oh, and the good doctor.
I don't know if young Sheldon ever acknowledges autism, but it's probably
Jordan
featured quite heavily in the show. And then there's also Sherlock. Well, specifically Benedict Cumberbatch's version of Sherlock.
I'm not a psychopath. I'm a high-functioning sociopath.
Yeah.
Jordan.
And they're just like, nah, bro, you're autistic. And then I was just recently trying to get into New Girl. I bought the first season of New Girl, and mainly for just the millennial. I want to immerse myself in like millennial Obama era optimism and whimsy and tweeness. So that's why I wanted to get into New Girl. It's not going well so far. I really don't like the pace and tone of their dialogue. Like, I just find it cringy. I can't help it. But I realized maybe this was never explicitly addressed in the show, but Jess, Zooey Deschanel's character, definitely has like female adult autism, like 100%. And I'm like, wait a minute. This is not realistic at all because everyone likes her and doesn't think that she's like rude. I've been informally diagnosed with autism enough times to understand what it's really like. And people do not find it charming or endearing whatsoever when you say things at inappropriate times and laugh at things that aren't jokes.
Well,
okay?
The thing is, like, the characters that get away with it in like Sherlock.
Stolen Valor.
For instance, Sherlock gets away with being brash and rude because he's exceptional.
Sure, yeah.
Like, and everybody, House is kind of the same way, right? He's
right.
He's allowed to be that way because he is exceptional. And the problem is everybody's got main character syndrome. And it's like, well, unless you're solving medical mysteries just in the nick of time or solving the unsolvable murder, then I don't know if you have the right to be that rude to everyone. And by the way, yes, if you're taking morphine, do not take Suboxone immediately after. You will go into immediate withdrawal.
Well, best not to like abuse drugs.
Don't do that. You're supposed to take the Suboxone after the withdrawal starts to curb the withdrawal symptoms. But I do recommend that first season of Mr. Robot if you want to watch a really interesting portrayal of somebody with that problem.
I like Mr. Robot. It's a very good show. But the thing with Jess is just like it makes more sense for male characters with autism because she's just like a quirk chungus stumbling through life, and everyone's like, "Oh, you!"
It's an LOL so random that Zoe.
For women, it's like your best skill is your ability to navigate social situations and like pick up on nonverbal cues and respond to them accordingly. Drop hints, pick up on hints, like that sort of thing is where women excel. It's where they're supposed to excel. And if you don't have the innate ability to do that, people will think you are a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
I say that from experience. Greg Duvier said, Mary, I hope you were able to squash uprising flare up in the Gongo on Monday.
There was an uprising? I wasn't aware.
Yep, we got it taken care of. It's just there have been some hiccups since USAID dried up.
Where's the funding coming from? That's the real question.
We're working on it. Boston said Dolly Parton got Stuart Baker, unknown Hinson cancel. It kicked off his show Squidbillies. We don't like her. Quit claiming everyone loves her. We don't.
Okay, so
I don't know the lore.
I don't know that
this is referring to at all.
No was very passionate in the chat today, being the person who's like, nah, fuck that person. But
you're like literally the one person on the planet who doesn't like Dolly Parton, like, which is fine. Feel how you want to feel, but we're just talking objective facts here.
I don't know.
People do love Dolly Parton.
Stuart Baker, unknown Hinson.
I don't know what that's.
Is that a show?
What even is that? I don't even know.
I don't know.
Explain the lore here. Educate us. Shane H. Wilder said, I find it hard to believe the photographer was wearing a white hood while using burning crosses instead of toys to get kids' attention. Yeah, I don't think there's some top-down racist conspiracy going on at Target, but you're going to have to ask the Washington Post. Pop Culture Junkie said, great thoughts on
Masters of the Universe.
Oh, Masters of the Universe. Numbers make more sense now.
Yeah, it's a whole, I guess it's just that thing where it's like, as bad as the movie did at the box office, it still now holds more cultural relevance than if they just dumped it on streaming to begin with.
That's true.
Like, I'm going to watch this Gal Gadot movie called The Runner, and I'm going to forget it in literally 3 seconds because it looks so stupid.
It's literally like, is it the gender-swapped version of Gray Man? Worst Ryan Gosling movie of all time.
That movie was bad, too.
It was so bad.
That was like, when I watched that movie...
At the time, you said that you liked it. And I was like, am I crazy? Like, no, I'm not crazy.
I think I said it was meh fine. Right? I said it was meh fine. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Citadel that I hated. I really hated Citadel. No, like it's so forgettable, right? Yeah. And I think the biggest red flag was they did a close-up, like an interstitial shot close-up of fake money that showed the text that says, this is copy money, not for use. And I'm like, okay, if you want to have that visible in a wide shot where, yeah, you could pull a close-up because it's an HD, but it was literally like this close to the camera, and I just happened to pause it on that moment. I'm like, oh, come on, dude. Like you could have moved the dude's thumb to cover it up. And look, everything that the Russos have produced outside of Avengers movies have not really been great.
Boston said, I spelled that wrong. Dolly Parton got early.
I don't know what Coiler?
Stuart Baker, unknown Hinson canceled. A lot of his fans do not like Dolly. Quit saying everybody LOL.
Okay, then let me actually rephrase all of this.
I still don't know what you're talking about.
When you get to a certain level of fame or wealth, no matter how universally liked you are, you likely stepped on some toes or left somebody in their feels on the way up.
Yeah.
Whether on purpose or not.
It's unavoidable.
It's unavoidable.
Right. And you know what? I don't know what you're talking about, but I support Dolly's side. I'm on Dolly's side. Katie said, hello, Brett and Mary. I realized on Sunday at Mass that real poverty is not about cash. It's growing up without Mass. Well, there is such a thing as spiritual poverty. That is very true. Robert Delera said, there was only one Dolly Parton. There will never be another. Yeah, I don't know if anyone can really fill that role in society anymore when people are so divided. Shane H. Wilder. Oh, we read that one earlier, the 20. Okay, I'm not gonna read that username.
You're not gonna read the username?
Do you want to read that?
No, I'm good.
All right, good. Denzel, Morgan Freeman, are these men universally loved the way that Dolly Parton was?
Honestly,
I would say no.
Look, Morgan Freeman is probably up there a lot. You know, he is like a voice of a generation with his voice, and Denzel is a pretty universally loved actor, but I don't think people think of him outside of like his world.
People like their work, and I think people loved Dolly Parton regardless of whether they were even fans of her music.
Exactly. Like I could only name like 2 or 3 Dolly songs but that doesn't mean that I don't understand that Dolly meant so much to so many people. Now Denzel and Morgan Freeman could definitely be that, as far as perhaps some of the last real universally loved members of their craft, but you know, that's few and far in between.
Greg Duvier said, it has come to my attention that Dolly Parton didn't die. Chuck Norris requested Jolene live. That's sweet. That's nice. Oh. Robert Delera said, there is nothing wrong with being challenged regarding your faith. If you're strong, you will have no problem defending what you believe in. We're not the saints challenged and we're not the saints challenged and withstood it. I agree on the general principle of that, but ideally your parents, like the people who brought you into this world, should not be the ones who challenge you on your deepest held beliefs. They should be the ones who instill it in you and sustain it and strengthen your conviction, rather than being the ones who challenge you on it. But given that, you know, a lot of people just are not in the ideal circumstances with families that are together, and parents who are on the same page about those important topics, the next best thing is to at least have an environment of open discussion about it. The Manic Mustache said, Mom threw a bed sheet over my head and called it a ghost. Only problem was your boy has a pointy head. Following year, I was a hobo. Thanks, Dad. Stay toxic, my friends.
I was a ninja every year.
How do you have such a pointy head that people think you're in the KKK?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I was a ninja literally every year. Either a regular ninja or a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, but I was always a ninja.
How did you decide between TMNT and like generic ninja though?
Generic ninja was easier to do.
One year I was a bee, like a queen bee. Another year I was an escaped prisoner, I guess. I don't know. Like I was in a jail outfit with the stripes and the whatever. What else? Cat, obviously, easy one.
Makes sense.
I
used to have a photo of me as the ninja, but I don't have that now. That's too bad. I would have loved to share that one. I'm like the same height.
Shane H. Wilder said Harry Harlow's wire mother, cloth mother experiment was crazy. He did odd things like putting a monkey in an isolation booth called the Pit of Despair. Yeah, I mean, it definitely sounds like an unethical study, but the findings do speak volumes nonetheless. Robert Delera said Kristen Stewart seems like she is constantly miserable and always has a chip on her shoulder. Yeah, when I watched the video of that interview, she does definitely seem uncomfortable, and kind of just like giving off low vibrational energy,
as they say.
Maybe I'm reading into it too much, but maybe she's always been like that. She's always been known for kind of having an awkward, stunted affect in interviews, so maybe it's just her personality. But she definitely hates men, I can tell. Manic Attack said Andrew Garfield's poorly disguised fetish. Yeah, that checks out. Shane H. Wilder said Kyler posted the meme in his stories. Okay, I'll check there. Corey Anderson said, dropped my kid off at college today. Empty nest is a weird feeling.
Aw.
It's probably the hardest part of being a parent, letting your kid become an adult.
I imagine it's not easy to
Wow.
let go in that way.
That's a big milestone.
Yep. We have a member chat here from Shane H. Wilder. It says, my free monthly members chat. It's been 6 months and I still don't know what to do with the free 150 characters. Let's see. I guess I will just say the. Perfect.
Nice job. Panamite said, I bitched about Masters of the Universe on Brett and Olivia's review episode, but ended up recommending it to several people with kids. Some are calling it the softest PG-13 in history.
Yeah, and like I said, I had fun. Like
Is it family friendly?
It depends on how you feel about fisting jokes. Like
Oh,
not overt, not like again.
I would consider that R, not PG-13.
I don't think a
That's a
kid.
little crazy.
I don't even remember what the joke is, but I do know that if I didn't know what that was, I probably wouldn't have caught it anyways.
Okay.
But whatever. Like this, the movie's biggest shortcoming was its inability to really commit to the genuine moments. It had to undercut everything with a joke, but it didn't make the movie any less fun. I just felt like it had the bones of a much better movie that it wasn't ready to fully commit to, but it was still a good time. I do think, for the most part, a movie like that is more fun on the big screen, though.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Based on the clips I saw, it just seemed like overdoing.
You would have hated it. You would have
the
hated it.
self-referential
It was all that
stuff.
Yeah.
Like the meta humor. Dingus Khan of Gongolia said, recently binge watched the show Tires on Netflix. I suggest it to anyone who's a fan of The Office or the Trailer Park Boys. Shane is a funny man.
I can't say. I used to watch episodes of Trailer Park Boys when the homies would have it on, but that's not something that I ever sought out. I never have Netflix. I rotate between, so I cancel and then take a few months off of having extra streaming services. Every once in a while, I have Hulu for a month. Every once in a while, I'll have HBO Max for a month. I never have Netflix for a month. I'll do it when Extraction 3 comes out. I'll get Netflix for a month. And I'm definitely not doing it when Narnia comes out.
I don't see myself having a Netflix subscription in the future either.
$300 million budget for the Narnia movie. Well, 280
That's
supposedly.
crazy. Wait, it's supposed to go to Netflix?
It's going to have like a limited theater release. Yeah, it's a Netflix movie.
Limited theater release and $300 million is what I'm hearing. Okay. Cool. Bossan said, musician, voice actor, lots of stuff, Unknown Hinson.
Oh, so I guess the musician / voice actor's name is Unknown Hinson.
That was confusing, but thank you for clarifying. Manic Attack said, nobody gives an F that you don't like Dolly Parton, and nobody gives an F about whoever Hinson is, STFU about it already. Sorry. Oh my gosh.
Fight.
See? People feel strongly about Dolly. You don't disrespect Dolly Parton, okay? She means a lot to a lot of people.
Broody
Clearly.
Gambit over on Rumble says, Harry Dresden is still the better wizard named Harry. He beat the Dark Lord in 7 books also, but did it while riding a necromanced T-Rex. So it took him, it took him 7 books, but technically it took him 8 movies. It took Harry Potter 8 movies. So, if they ever get that Dresden Files reboot up and running.
Pop Culture Junkie said, my Kristen Stewart description, ultra low key. Yeah, I think there's some performative nonchalance about her, but she's actually kind of the Arthur meme all the time.
There's a
She
Rumble
has a
rant.
different color for sure.
A Rumble rant from Mick Beefrod.
Oh, great.
Says, watch Space King episode 5 teaser. Praise be to Space King. I have not heard the phrase praise be to Space
Wow.
King in a very long time.
That's crazy. What a
Yeah.
throwback.
It is a throwback to the early days. Couple.
Penamite.
Yep, go for it.
I saw lots of post-COVID movies in empty theaters between Northman and Beetlejuice. Is it Northman? I don't know.
The Northman.
Was away 18 months till Michael, and movies are now packed with Zoomers. Many in blankets and PJs. Big 26 trend is real.
So many blankets at the movie theater.
It's really weird. Like, are you planning to sleep in there?
I mean, I don't mind it. Like, if you're like, hey, if you're not going, if you don't have a wife or a girlfriend to put your food in her purse, you might have to bring the blanket to obfuscate the giant rotisserie chicken you're bringing in.
I see. Oh gosh, if someone brought in a rotisserie chicken, that would smell crazy. Yeah, I think people need to stop bringing their pillows and blankets. I mean, just think about the risk of bed bugs, for one. Ew. Shane H. Wilder said, hey, Brett, have you noticed Hulu putting up mature audience warnings for movies that are not even rated R? I saw it on both Jumanji and Uncharted.
Wow. I haven't rewatched Uncharted, so I don't know. They put it up for every episode of Justified when I watch it, but you know, that's interesting. They're like better safe than sorry. Better put this up there. I guess Jumanji makes sense because what was I don't remember if Jumanji I don't know if you're talking about the original Jumanji with Robin Williams or the modern Jumanji, but what it was considered like a PG movie in the 90s isn't the same thing as what's considered a PG movie now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if it was PG or PG-13.
I feel like people were more innocent back then. Urkele DeStefano said, tight striped shirt today, Mary. Is that from your jailbreak days? Similar. I actually didn't even think about that until you pointed it out. Ramalama Ding Dong said, nobody. Andrew Garfield, how about my love interest be a muscular black guy? LOL. That would just be funny, right? Ha. Yeah. So kind of odd. Boston said early Kyler?
Siler? I don't know.
Siler is still alive and Dolly isn't Mustache?
I think he's referring to Mustache's super chat from earlier.
I don't know, but I love the lively discussion. I have no idea what's going on, but more power to you. Red Snow said, praise be to Space King and be positive.
Yes.
Wow, what a throwback.
Robert Delara says, if you don't like Dolly Parton, I suggest you go to Dollywood and get yourself some cinnamon bread. That will change your tune.
I have heard from an actual, like, real life review that the cinnamon bread is underwhelming and not worth it. But I'll have to try it myself to find out.
You know, I was looking at a story today about how Krispy Kreme lost 90% of its value because it got bought by private equity and they stopped making the donuts fresh every day. And, you know, as somebody who likes to make fun of communists and to make fun of socialists, I still have my complaints about private equity ruining everything. And that's a good example of one of the many things that private equity ends up destroying because they don't understand what made the product special in the first place.
And dentists.
Yeah.
Those two. Corey Anderson said, any update on the Red Panda Army? Yeah, we're all on the edge of our seats trying to find out.
And there's one more there from Brian Bledsoe.
Dolly and now Tim Curry, I leave the country and celebrities dropping off the earth.
Yeah.
Clearly that's why this is happening.
All right, but maybe we'll get to that crisis party before we get through the outro. But
we're awfully close. Let me check. I think we need $4.
Pop Culture Junkie says, I've had the cinnamon bread. It's outstanding.
Okay, I believe you then. I've been really wanting to go to Dollywood. I just haven't made a plan yet. But it's driving distance for me.
All right, guys, before we go, as always, hit the like button on the episode. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you've not subscribed here yet already. Please, again, check out Saturday night, the premiere episode, the new premiere episode I'm going to be putting up with Kinsey Schofield, talking about the failure of Hollywood celebrities to give an even halfway decent press tour these days. It's going to be a lot of fun talking about that. I hope you guys will tune in at 7 p.m. on Saturday night. I would appreciate it if you watched. Mary, where can they find you?
You guys can send me validation on Instagram, that is Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X, that is also Mary Archived, and help me get TikTok famous, that is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. I'm like keeping my eye on the crisis meter to see what happens. Yeah, it's ever so close there, guys.
Here.
Hit the like button again, like I said. Get us to the crisis party. And if you want to follow me, I'm on Instagram and on X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. PCC 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would like to listen rather than just watch the show, you can also rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. That is a great way to help us out. If you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. One more here from Grofty, getting us the crisis party. He says Dollywood funds. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And one more from Shane H. Wilder, who says it's because Brian went to the... Thank you. Oh.
I forget, is that Ian's voice?
Yeah. Oh, no.
Oh, wait,
It's Phil's. It's
Right,
Phil's voice,
right.
yes. And one more from Shane H. Wilder, who says it's because Brian went to the UK, I went to the UK, and Robin Williams died. That is true. Robin Williams.
It's all your fault.
All right. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We will see you guys then. Bye.
Bye.
Everybody.